We're going to talk about staff. I want to show some pictures now. This is a lot of the new MPs in Canberra today. They get a bit of an induction session where they get to sit in the Chamber of Parliament House and the officials tell them about how Parliament works, you know, where their office is going to be, what sort of staffing and allowances they get. I think we'll get to some of those pictures soon. Of course, Pauline, that would have been you doing that, turning up in Canberra as a novice in 1996. Here they are all in the chamber. A lot of them are Greens and Teals. But Pauline, incredibly in my view, these independents, these Teals, are complaining that they don't get enough staff. They're getting an extra staff member, one more than an ordinary backbencher. Surely that's more than enough.
Chris, let me just explain to you, to the people as well. There's a difference between your lower house and your upper house. In the lower house, Albanese has the numbers to pass the legislation. In the Senate, that's not the case. It's called the House of Review.
Can I just cut you off?
Labor government with the Greens.
Yep. So just to interrupt, but I agree. Different argument for the senators because they will have to try and look at every piece of legislation.
Yep.
But I want to focus on these lower house Teals in particular.
Okay.
Do they need it?
Okay, you don't need their vote. No, they don't need it because they've got an electorate of around about 165,000 people, constituents that they look after. I have got a state of Queensland with over 5 million people. There's a hell of a difference between a senator and representing a state to a member with the lower house. I agree, they don't need it. You don't need their vote because Albanese has the numbers in the lower house to pass that legislation. In the Senate, we don't. Albanese is short one member of Parliament, which you'll have to rely on the crossbench to get its legislation through. Chris, if he cuts it from the Senate, our staff, that we need those advisors to be across the legislation. There was 167 pieces of legislation that we are informed about that can come on at any time. We have to be across it and we have to know what we're voting on because who'll be the first one to criticise us? You. The media have a go at us on how we vote on these issues. That's true. Okay, be fair about it. It is. What the difference with us is we have to be across all this legislation because it reflects on us how we vote. The backbenchers of the major political parties, a lot of them don't even know what they're voting on. The bells ring, they come in the chamber. Oh, yeah, I've got to sit this side of the parliament. I've had ministers sit beside me, didn't even know what we were voting on. I have to be across it. So that's important. What they're trying to do is shut us down so we don't have the resources, the staff, the advice that we have to make decent decisions on legislation that's put up before the House. And that's what they're trying to do, is shut us down. The Liberal Party are lame ducks. If the Liberal Party get all the crossbench, they will never stop the legislation put up by the Labor Party, but the crossbench can. Give us the resources that we need to call for accountability.
You make an important point about the Senate, but you can't smear me, Pauline, with the sins of all the media. Otherwise, I'd smear you with the sins of all of politics. But in the lower house, this is what intrigues me, right? You've got the Teals. They're effectively a party, right? They're all getting an additional advisor above what a normal backbencher would get. Now, if they can't share the resources with those extra advisors between the Teal independents, well, then they haven't got any idea of how to operate, right? They should share that resource.
Chris, I'm not arguing. They're all Teal, okay? They should be sharing the resources as the Greens do, and if you get party status, which is 5 members or more across both houses. But the fact is, I'm fighting for the senators. When I compare the number of constituents that we have to the lower house, they don't deserve the 8 members of Parliament. And I agree with Albanese. And when I put this to the PM, he said, you make a very good point. He talks about the parliamentary library. Chris, that closes. That only runs from 8:30 till 5 o'clock. It is only open there on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday night till 8 o'clock at night. Sorry, through the week, only till 5 o'clock it's shut, not open weekends. We can't resource that information because they only give you the direct information. My advisors go to meetings on behalf. We talk to unions, we talk to business people, we talk to organisations that are putting their points of view across. Because of my research that had happened over the years, guess what? I managed to actually stop the Singaporean buying up land for military training, the code of conduct for the sugarcane industry, the ABCC bill, which we presented our information to the Liberal Party at the time to improve the legislation. We are putting up improvements, amendments to the political parties to improve their legislation.
It'll be an interesting one then, especially in the Senate. You'll be on a unity ticket with David Pocock to start off with, so we'll see how that goes when it comes to staffing allocations.
I spoke to David today. He's a lovely fellow. I spoke to him today. So we're all on a unity ticket with this, and we're going to fight this issue with Albanese. But you've got to present the facts to the PM and explain why it's wrong. Chris, to save $1.5 million, they just gave $50 million to Sri Lanka, another $1 million to Afghanistan, paid out $850 to France on a contract that didn't need to be paid out. Give me a break.
It's going to be great to watch this one unfold. Thanks for joining us, Pauline. Pauline Hanson
Chris.
on a unity ticket with David Pocock, with Albo in the middle. He's got Pauline on the right, Pocock on the left. And I'm sure they're all lovely people. I just think some people have nutty views.